Hi, I'm Tarrah Hernandez. I'm one of the owners at Taco Bout at Mexican Fusion.
So one thing I do want to talk about, I want to start from when I say the beginning. Let's talk. I sat down with you and Tavo. What is it now? 3 years now.
Yeah, 3 years.
Okay.
Yep.
You guys have been open for 3 full years almost.
In March.
In March.
Yep.
So,
Well, minus the food truck, but yeah, in the restaurant, 3 full years in
Yeah.
March. Yep.
so what a wild 3 years.
Yes.
You know, food truck to opening your own brick and mortar downtown. And your first year had to be wild, anyways, because you know
It's the first year.
it's your first year,
Yeah.
and you're managing staff that you never had before.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you get through that first year, which was crazy. I remember sitting down with you guys in the summer, talking about how awesome it is that you came from the food truck, you opened up your own place, your dreams are coming true, and then
Yeah.
COVID-19.
COVID-19. Yep.
Let's talk about the last 2 years. You know, you finish up your first year essentially,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Open in business, and then the lockdowns start in March
Yeah.
of 2020.
Yeah.
We leave 2019 into 2020.
Yep.
How does that work out for you?
Well, the 2 weeks leading up to the shutdown, we were watching the news, seeing what was going on. Kind of, it was in the forefront. We knew, something weird was happening. Never dreamed it would shut us down. The 2 weeks prior to that, just paying attention to stuff, and then the day it was announced that we'd have to shut down, it was hard. We closed the next day. We closed completely down. We went into food truck mode, got all the takeout containers. We kind of knew the drill already just because, running a food truck. Staff was an issue. We didn't know what to do with them. We didn't know, do we keep them all on? How busy are we going to be? Probably sat in the back room that first day and just kind of stared out the window like, what do we do from here? And then it was so unknown whether we were going to continue takeout or if she was going to shut us down completely and say it's not even safe to run at all.
Right.
So it was scary to put a bunch of money into new takeout stuff, like, new ways of operation. We were putting new menu items out to try to drum up business. We were scared to plug even a lot of money into that. And we did not have a financial cushion at all. I mean, it was the end of our first year. We didn't. We had just, it was rough. So we started training serving staff immediately to work in the kitchen, and Tavo and I worked open to close during the entire shutdown. Actually, during both shutdowns, we worked open to close every day, doing deliveries, making sure that we were bringing new things, keeping things fresh. It was terrifying. It was scary. I often joke that it took years off my life. I really think it did.
I believe it.
Yeah.
I think it took years off a lot of business owners'
Yeah.
lives,
Yeah.
not just here in our small town, but in towns across the country.
Yeah, it was terrifying. Yeah. So we made it through. We community was super supportive. We had lots of takeout orders, delivery orders from businesses, and it was funny. I would go and deliver at some people's houses, and they would be there with a cup of coffee. It was like a daily thing. I'd go and I'd drop their food off. They'd give me a coffee, and it was really neat. They really supported us. But it was definitely scary, not knowing we're going to open up these building again ever, and how long is this going to last, and then getting sick. I mean, we're still running rampant. We're still being exposed to a lot of things. I have a child with asthma, and I'm scared I'm going to bring this home to her. So it was terrifying for the first shutdown, for sure.
And then we progressed into the summer that year, that first year,
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah.
Memorial Weekend happens. We're open.
Mhm.
Other counties south of us, Mason County in particular, is not.
Yeah.
The whole southern portion of the state's not open. But so you got people running up here from Detroit, Lansing, Grand Rapids, Chicago,
Yep.
bringing. At the time, everybody was scared.
Yeah.
But they're shut down for a reason. We're open for a reason. Is a week from now, are we all going to have COVID? Is the whole northern territory of Michigan going to be shut down?
Yep.
You're still struggling to keep staff
Yep.
on hand.
Yep.
How was that first summer of 2020 for you?
The first summer was every day was a question of do we or don't we? Do we invest in all these different sanitizing equipments or don't we? Do we continue to make the kitchen staff wear masks even though they feel like they're going to pass out? And there was dehydration was a real issue. We were working doubles, open and close. A lot of them were because we didn't have a staff. The liquor commission was coming in, and so and so saw you remove your mask to take a drink, and I mean it was a whirlwind of what ifs. What do we do? Do we? Don't we? And that first summer was just kind of survival. It was who's going to show up at work, who's not, who's going to catch it. Thankfully, none of our staff caught it that first summer. Like no one caught. Everybody was healthy all summer long. but it was definitely a roller coaster. We wake up every day not knowing what was going to happen, how many customers we were going to get. We were busier than we were the first summer we were open, so that was even more terrifying.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I think it's been a progression that way, has it not?
Oh,
I
this
mean,
last summer was even more crazy. So definitely, yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
how are you navigating that with staff shortages? I know that there was a day or so a week that you were shutting down to kind of
Yeah.
just give everybody a break.
Yeah. That was the only way that the two managers and us three owners could back off a little bit. Well, we have five owners, but Adrian, I'm counting. as one of them. So Adrian, Tavo, and I, when we were open, we were on call or there every day all summer long. That first summer and last summer, and that was the only way we could even take a breather and not have our phones right next to us waiting for that call because we knew it was coming. That was the only way we made it. It's just making sure that we are all three on call all summer long to make sure we can come in and pick up the slack wherever it needed to be. So the first summer we did not lose any staff. We kept most of them, and then like I said, no one got sick, so it was actually pretty smooth. 2020 was a little easier than 2021, surprisingly, even though it was the first summer of COVID and navigating that. But we did keep more staff the first summer. Next summer, not so much. It was bare bones all summer long, and even though we didn't have to wear masks, it was still really tough.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're trying to steer a ship with half the sailors, that's kind of an issue. I never really had that problem here. When the first shutdowns and stuff came through, I just worked by myself. And not to diminish what I do here, but it's pretty easy to just man a counter and help people check out.
Yeah.
That's it. When you're dealing with the lack of staff and you're shutting down for a day or two to give people a break, give yourself a break. I mean, how is that on your family? I mean, your whole family pretty much works there or is there.
Yeah.
So you guys are together 24 hours a day, 7 days a week,
Yeah.
and this is a really stressful time for you.
I feel like we went in survival mode. I think it's just catching up to us. I think we are starting to feel like we can relax a little bit, so then everything else creeps up, like little things like being behind on schoolwork with the kids because we homeschool. Health, we didn't have time to go to the doctor, the dentist. For almost 2 years, it was just go. So I don't think we've seen all the effects of it yet. It's just starting to catch up. That my goodness, like this really happened, and now we have to figure out how to mentally recover from it as well as physically. And I think even Adrian aged pretty rapidly. I mean, he's going to turn 19 this year, and he's got a mentality of like a 25-year-old because he's just,
He's always been kind of an old soul.
He has
anyways,
been.
but yes, I can see that.
This
really
pushed him a little forward.
And I think a lot of us. I was just talking to Lindsay Swiderski, from TJ's, and I think she had the same sentiment that it feels like we've aged more than 2 years in the last 2 years for everybody. I mean, my stresses aren't as elevated as anybody in the food service industry. For the last 2 years, it's got to be just insane the amount of work that you've had to put in. But I feel it, that, and it's not just from my family, it's from my friends. Their stress is, I feel their stress, I feel my kids' stress, I feel the stress of the customers that walk in the door. I'm sure you do too. As you move through the last 2 summers, our peak season here is really the summer.
It is, yeah.
And you've got people that really just want to let their hair down and relax, but you're still under restrictions.
Yes.
Not as much as you were a year ago, but there's still restrictions. I mean, how are you guys handling, ensuring that your customers get the experience that they want and that you hope that they have, but then also keeping in mind all the protocols that you have to keep in place?
Really, we're just monitoring symptoms, and we just send people home, even if they test negative. Go home. We've got a couple outlets right now that they tested negative, but it's still, you have symptoms of it. We don't know what's going to happen. And sanitize. Like, we all have like raw hands from just sanitizing everything all the time, which we wipe down things beforehand, but now it's way different. The chairs, the making sure our silverware goes through multiple times. Just any kind of symptom we send home. That's kind of what we've just been doing, just to make sure people stay safe. Thankfully, we haven't had an exposure at our place yet. Our staff is really good about recognizing I have a sore throat, I'm not coming in, and we're fortunate enough that there's 3 of us. One of us is going to be able to bounce in there and cover. So it's worked out pretty good. We've been able to keep everyone pretty healthy.
You fully staffed now?
No.
Close to full?
Very close,
Okay,
very
good.
close. Summer, definitely not. We get into April and we don't have any applicants. We haven't had any applicants, but we get into April and we don't have anywhere we're going to be looking at last summer, if not worse. So right now, yes, we're doing great. We've got a great crew and they're all working really hard. They're thinking about next summer, thinking about what they're going to do and new things we're going to bring in. So.
How did the outside seating help you this past year?
Oh, incredible. Oh my gosh. I hope it stays. It changed. We had so many tourists and even locals just talk about how it changed the feel of downtown. It made Manistee kind of up with the times. Social district, amazing.
Love the
Absolutely
social
amazing.
district.
Yes, absolutely amazing. So that combined with outdoor seating, definitely. I mean, we were so busy we couldn't do takeout anymore from like Memorial Day to Labor Day. So it was
That's awesome.
good. Yeah. Oh yeah. We were bummed that we couldn't meet people's expectations with the takeout, but we just didn't have a crew.
Yeah.
And distribution has been a huge issue this last summer. I mean,
Yeah, with
huge.
everybody. I mean, I
Yeah.
see it on the beer, wine, and spirit side.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm sure you see it on the liquor side too.
Oh,
but-
very much. Liquor's probably the hardest thing right now that we get used to using one product. We're not able to get it anymore. We're pretty picky about tequila, especially because of our margaritas, and we're having a hard time just getting that kind. So we're kind of tasting other stuff and see what we can get. We'll pick something, and then 2 months later, can't get that anymore. So it's been tough.
And you guys do a lot of your stuff is super fresh. I mean, that's
Mhm.
kind of your slogan, defined by fresh. I mean, how has it been with your food suppliers and getting the product that you want for what you're trying to do at your restaurant, and then also like the increase in costs?
Yeah, the increases we've had to. We regrettably had to hike our prices a little bit. We tried to hold off as long as we could, but we started exceeding that like 35%.
Yeah.
And it was too much. So we increased a little bit. And then as far as distribution, yeah, a lot of the fresh stuff like avocados were through the roof all summer. Limes are going up tremendously. We couldn't even get a lot of the seafood. I mean, we do ahi tuna, and it was like impossible to get for a while. Steak was a huge problem. Shrimp, every time we could get shrimp, we would mass order it and fill the freezer because we didn't know when we could get it again. So
Yeah.
it still is a challenge. We'll put an order through and not sure what's gonna come or what's not gonna come. And we do work primarily with Gordon's, and John, the rep there, he's amazing. He comes in, he tries to do whatever he can. He'll drive stuff himself, and so he's really been getting us through.
That's great.
Yeah.
So are you optimistic for the future? I mean, we have a lot of things happening in Manistee. I know that you're going to be going, you're finishing up your third year in business, your fourth summer or third summer? Fourth summer coming up.
Yeah.
We've got the Gateway project starting in the front end of River Street, a hotel project at the beach, new restaurants coming to town. It feels to me like the vibe for Manistee is at an all-time high.
Yes.
Couple that with the social district that we had a whole summer of people to get used to it, so it's going to come back this summer.
Yeah.
Are you excited?
Very, very. I mean, despite COVID, despite staff shortages, our sales have done nothing but increase.
Great.
So that's all we can hope for. With these new changes coming, I'm hoping that it kind of starts to open people's minds to allow change and be okay with change and realize that change is not always a bad thing. It's usually a good thing.
Right.
I'm hoping that it brings some more employees into town and more businesses. Because the reality is if it stays the same and never changes and never grows, no one's going to want to open new businesses here. And the
Right.
ones that do have businesses, we're going to have to seek to open a second location somewhere else, And one of the biggest things is we do want to start running our food truck again in Manistee County at certain places, but without the staff and then without the people, it's going to be really hard to do. There'd be not enough business or any reason, to have two different things going on in one town. But the growth that's supposed to happen, that we're seeing happening, I think is going to encourage people like us and others to keep expanding in Manistee. So that's the goal. That's what we want to do.
Well, I'm excited too. I'm excited for you guys. Done a phenomenal job in 3. I mean, talk about a struggle. You guys have always been super hard workers. Your grind is, it's out there for everybody to see. I can appreciate it. You and Tavo and your family. I love you guys so much, and I'm super happy for your business. It sucks that you had to go through the last 3 years like you had to go through it, but it definitely makes you stronger.
Yeah,
And I
it's
can see
character
that,
building.
when I go to the restaurant, you got a phenomenal job. So
Thank
I
you.
wish you nothing but the best in 2022 is going to be a phenomenal year for everybody.
I
think it's going to
agree.
be a great year for you guys too.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah. No problem.